Hello, welcome back to Podium. Rich here with Hannah for our latest roundup episode, and Katie's away this week. I think it's going to be short and sharp this week, isn't it, Hannah? There's not like loads that's been going on, but enough to chat about. But you've just got back from a week in Font, and how was that?
Oh, it was lush. I mean, just the best weather. And it's like, well, everyone
Amazing
knows.
photos.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, I was sending you guys photos like every day.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm doing. And it's quite indulgent. Like, yeah, I had to leave Luke behind looking after our toddler, and I just got to do a bit of coaching, do a load of reading, do a load of croissants and coffee. It was really chilled. And I don't coach, like properly coach. I call it mentoring or just like supporting other coaches, but it's super fun to like be with a group of people that are trying to be the best. Yeah, no, it's just inspiring and yeah, it's really nice. Like I do miss it. I do miss elements of training, and it's just nice to be alongside people that are just striving for brilliance. It's just, yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. And then when I landed yesterday and it's absolutely pissing it down. So literally the picture from taking off from Girona Airport yesterday to landing in Birmingham last night. Yeah, couldn't have been worse.
How long is the group out there for?
They're doing a month. So a load of them, they're sort of gearing up to try and make European Cross Country Championships. Will Barnicott was there. He's he's got 3 titles on the trot, 2 juniors and an under 23. So he's trying to go for a 4th title. So he was training hard. And then the sort of track girls like Izzy Boffey, Abby Ives, Sarah Calvert were all up there. So that was our little group.
When I guess it's quite interesting to find when you're looking at it from the outside, you're looking at athletes who are either on holiday now, just completely, letting their hair down, doing whatever they want. And there's others who've started winter training already, or they're sort of tentatively starting to move towards it. What, at this stage of the season for you, where would you be at? What would you be doing back in the day?
Well, I mean, it depends when the champs is, but we used to often set the start date as 1st of October. Do what you wanted, but you were expected to be in shape to do a session.
And that would have been like for like an August World Champs or something. So maybe like 1st of November.
Yeah. Like do what you want, dilly-dally around, do some running, come the equivalent of 1st of November, on a grass field doing 6 by K. No excuses.
How much would these guys be doing though, like right now, in terms of, if you're sort of letting yourself do whatever you like and you go on holiday, you got to do some sort of training, haven't you? You can't just do nothing for a couple of weeks, can you?
There's a sliding scale, I'd say, from power to endurance. Like the more power-based the athlete is, the more their mentality is, I need to totally recover before rebuilding. And then you go the other
nothing.
Nothing.
Not even cross training.
No, there'll be a lot of the sprinters and field-based athletes that will take a month off. Nothing.
That sounds mad. Because I would think, surely, like if you're like a power-based athlete as well, like so you're in the throws, for example. Surely you're a bit of like a strength junkie. You just want to get straight back in the gym to do something. You couldn't just do nothing for that long, could you?
I think you can when you've put so much in, especially with the world champs at the end as well. You put so much emotion into it. I think, and again, I think the younger the athlete, this is my experience anyway, the younger the athlete, the more extreme the off season is in terms of everything. In terms of diet, in terms of drinking, in terms of not sleeping. I mean, I'm not saying everyone gets pissed, but it's like you almost...
I don't know. Do young people drink as much anymore?
No,
that's the narrative, isn't it?
I don't. Yeah. But they sort of, I think the younger the athlete is, the more they trash their body on the off season. And the older you get, the more you realise, well, maybe it's that it takes more to recover from that off season. But yeah, I'd say the younger based power athletes, absolutely nothing for a month. The older based endurance athletes probably ran every other day for 2 weeks and then they'll get back on it. But I saw pictures, videos this morning of Georgia Hunter-Bell out. Yeah. She looks like she's on a cycling holiday.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, fitness, brilliant. And if it gives you the mental break, then that's fine.
But she does a lot of cycling throughout the season anyway, doesn't she, in terms of cross training?
And I think her husband does as well. So the idea to go on holiday and be able to cycle is probably fun for them. Whereas,
so it sounds like it wouldn't be fun for you, Hannah, by the way you're talking.
I used to do nothing. I remember I always used to finish in New York because I used to race at Fifth Ave. I remember my brother suggesting renting a bike one day to go around Central Park. I was like, well, no.
Is it an electric bike?
You can give me a baccy, but I'm not I'm not using my... I used to take it quite seriously, but only for like a fortnight. I don't know. It's wild. But yeah, you are back racing though. You've done a race this weekend. You're the other end of the spectrum from all these pro athletes, just in terms of your racing schedule, not in terms of your results.
Exactly. I'm not exactly on the elite start line. Great South Run was at the weekend, so that's only about an hour away from where I live, just outside Brighton. because that's in Portsmouth and Southsea. And if you're listening outside the UK, this is one of our sort of big. It's a big race in the UK. It's in terms of its annual sort of status. You've probably heard the Great North Run, which is the half marathon. The Great South Run is a 10-mile race, and it's also the for the elites. Obviously, it's the British champs as well for 10 miles. And it's a funny distance 10 miles because there aren't many big 10-mile races, and this is the biggest one in Europe.
Didn't they used to be? I feel like there used to be a solid British 10-mile circuit. Like my coach said, I think he did like 49 something for 10 miles, and he was bang average for the 80s or whatever it was. I remember thinking that's rapid, like and it was. But they used to have a lot more 10-mile races.
Yeah, I really like them because I love a race where if you do a lot of half marathons, right? Well, if you do your distance running, then you do a lot of half marathons, and you can almost always blow up in like one race. You get it completely wrong. So the moment you usually get into that point where you want to blow up and just call it a day, the finish line's there. So in a 10-mile race, which is really nice. I really like that feeling of pushing yourself to the edge, and that you can bail when you actually want to, and like if it was a half marathon because you finished. So I really like a 10 mile because it's a really hard one to pace.
Do you attack it then like a really ambitious half?
So I went
a fearless half.
So I didn't know how to do this one because I did it first 7 years ago, and I wasn't particularly taking running very seriously then. I was just sort of getting into it actually because I didn't used to be any kind of runner. I started running when I was probably around that time actually, 2017, 2018. And so that was just a bit of fun really. And this time I had a heavier week in terms of training. So I'm training for Malaga. That's still the focus. So I did.
8 weeks for Malaga.
I don't know how many weeks it is.
You said 9 last week, so I'm gonna.
Well, I'd say it's 8 then. I guess.
Let's say it's 8. Let's hope you don't lose you. Let's hope we don't lose you a week. We'll double check it between recordings.
I'd done 2 fairly big sessions in the week because the race this weekend wasn't the focus. So I knew I'd had sort of slightly beat up legs, and I went out. I thought I'd just do half marathon pace. So I tried to go at what I did my Berlin PB at in April. I've been injured since then over summer. So I'm just trying to get back to that kind of level again. And I went out like too quick for the first 4 or 5 miles. And then my calf was really hurting, like really, really hurting. I stopped, tried to stretch it, and it was like solid, like absolutely solid. Had a sports massage on it today, needed it. So I just stepped off. I just stepped off for a bit, and then final mile just gave it. That was my fastest mile. Was my final one, and but it didn't hurt. I knew this would happen. I knew I wouldn't feel the calf when I actually upped the pace, like to more like 10k pace.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, I can't run a 10-mile race at 10k pace. So I just knew I could sort of save it and then go, and then you're sort of picking off everyone else like in front of you. So that was nice. Yeah. And our colleague, so our friend and colleague Chris Temple, who is who does commentary with us. It was in Tokyo with us on the World Athletics host broadcast. He is sort of like the voice of the gods, like in terms of voice of God, in terms of like a Wembley Stadium and at pretty much every big race in the country. And so he was calling this, and I'd messaged him the day before saying, "Are you doing Great South Run?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." I was like, "Oh, call me in. This is going to be really good." And I was coming down the straight, and I could see him, and I was like really trying to get his attention for like 200 meters to go. And I knew I'd got like the race didn't go as I wanted it to go. I got like the bare minimum of what I wanted. So I was like, I know I've already got that minimum. So I kind of eased off a little bit of 200 meters just to try and get Chris's attention. And he was like focused on someone else that was coming in front of him, and then had a chat to someone else, complete back turned. And I was like, there's a picture of me pointing at him, or trying to get his attention. And he completely missed me. So that was really disappointing. You have to do it again.
You have to do another one of the Great North events. Or the Great
we're talking about, aren't we? We're talking about doing maybe Great Birmingham.
Pressure on this. Yes, we are.
At least 10k, right?
Oh, I'm such a weak-minded.
There's no excuse there. It's like, how long will it take you to get? What's the course like, by the way? Is it?
It's deceptively hilly. Where I took you to the park run, Cannon Hill Park Run, like it does some of that. It's deceptive. It's got a few drags. Like you do a drag up to Cadbury's World, but then it's nice on the way back.
Cadbury World.
No, you'll smell the chocolate as well. Like this, because we used to run past Cadbury's World the whole time, and it's so bizarre, like smelling chocolate and on the morning run and all that.
Yeah, but the Great South Run yesterday was it was good, but it was It was really it was pissing it down.
It's
and
quite exposed, isn't it? Like
it's very exposed. Yeah,
along
we
the
had it was very windy, and the way the course set up, we're sort of running into a headwind for about 4 or 5 miles constantly. The way it worked this time, usually the wind's going the other direction, but we did have a tailwind for the ends, which was like a nice.
That's nice,
we knew that was coming for the last few miles. But it's if you've not done it before, yeah, like I say, Europe's biggest 10-mile race. It's usually well supported. Not surprisingly, it wasn't particularly yesterday because the weather was so awful that why would you go and just stand out in the rain,
stand in the driving rain on the British coast
and South Sea? It's not like yeah, I don't want to be too disparaging about Portsmouth. I want to go back there one day. Whilst you're on it, though, should we talk about some of the results? So doubled up, as I said, as the British 10-mile champs. Which there aren't many big races like this, as we said, but it's an opportunity to get some really decent elites there in terms of from a British point of view, and well, I think like two quite popular winners actually as well. So Marc Scott and Verity Ockenden won. And they've both been through it a bit over the past few months for different reasons, Marc Scott won in 47 minutes 21 seconds. I'm not sure that's a PB. I think he was about a minute quicker when he won it in 2019, or maybe I'm not doing a disservice, but I don't think it's quite as fast. But he's been through a really, really tough time. Lost a family member, I think his brother, recently, and he's talked about that quite openly, about how much that's affected him, and really interesting him being again quite open about it yesterday. So he won the race, then posted, he said he was back where he belongs, by crossing the finish line first. He described grief as being a strange thing. He said one day he's ready to go out and run 20 miles. Now the next day doesn't want to do anything. And I think he is just sort of, it's just very hard to estimate really kind of what he's gone through, because he has been lined up. I think he was on an elite start list, wasn't he, for one of the marathons recently?
So he did Great North, which I think was meant to be originally part of his build up for Chicago, but instead he did it for the charity. And I want to say, I think he's one of a triplet, and it was one of his triplets, Ben, that died. Yeah. And so he ran for charity in Great North, and then didn't start Chicago, which totally makes sense. But if you've got, I think the death is pretty recent, like over the summer, so perhaps that marathon build was getting going, and I'd love it if it's the right thing for Marc to go into a marathon, maybe even Valencia, maybe something like that. It'd be fantastic. But just great to see, if he could have a good day at Portsmouth is just wonderful. And grief is just everyone, it affects everybody differently. I always think of Tobacco last summer. How on earth he pulled that off with his mum dying in May, and it's just, running can be brilliant for so many things, but I think competing, trying to push yourself all the way to the limit when you're going through tough stuff is so hard. So when you say for a popular winner, dead chuffed to see Marc Scott win, whether that's as part of a build up for anything else or just a standalone brilliant Sunday morning for him.
I think he was talking about he's going off training in the mountains, so he's obviously got something in mind that maybe he doesn't want to commit to anything right now. But he's straight away off to do some altitude training.
He had a baby last year as well, so in terms of kind of things that disrupt continuity of training and finding, I still think it's been a disrupted couple of years for Marc, and I'd love it if everything aligned for him. At some point in the next 12 months, if we could get a marathon potential for him, it'd be cool. Yeah,
and Verity Ockenden's spoken. She wrote a really good piece in AW Athletics Weekly recently about grief, and that is, I can't remember what edition it is. If you go out and seek it out, probably be on the website.
We can put it in the show notes, right? You find it and put it in the show notes.
If I find it on the show notes, I'll put the link in there. It was on the edition that had Anna Hall on the cover, I seem to remember.
That's gone to my next door neighbour's granddaughter.
Has it?
I'll have to go back get it.
But it's really good about just talking about how, I think it's talking about really about how expectation around athletes and always high performance and all that kind of stuff, and how you don't really know how personal issues are going to affect your training and your racing. So that's that. So just on that similar theme, worth having a read of that and seeking it out. Like I said, we'll put it in the show notes. But also, she's been injured recently, and she was hoping to compete at the Diamond League meeting in London. Couldn't do that, so she's been building back, and a really good win. And actually, if you try and seek out some of the footage, It's because it's not broadcast on like UK TV or anything like that, not like the Great North Run, but it's a brilliant finish for the podium. I mean, it's sprint finish. Verity, Ockenden breaks the other two. She sprints away. They can't catch her. You can see them in the background. So she's got about 10 seconds on them as a finish time, 56:37. Kate Eastley Morris gets second, just ahead of Beth Kidger. I mean, you're talking like seconds ahead of them. So they are absolutely battling to the line. So it's a really good finish. Like, it's great when you get like a 10-mile race like that, and they were really going for it at the end, and Ockenden just had a little bit more at the end. So that's a massive win for her, because, you know, British 10-mile champion at the back of a tricky season, and I guess she'll be trying to build up.
Yeah, well, a healthy Verity Ockenden is exciting. I think, you know, she was so close to making Tokyo. She was, you know, tenths off in the almost in the 10K and the 5K. She was mighty close to making that team. And yeah, she's so talented. I'm not sure what her best distance is. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, she's brilliant. No, we should get 3K in medal at 3K indoors at European level. You know, she has wheels, so I think she's always exciting in the sprint finish. But yeah, I don't know. I reckon it'd be a balance of one of those. She's got speed, but training for the shorter distances can be quite tough and yeah, on the body. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, interesting to see where she ends up in the next 6 months.
Yeah. So really good race. That's what I say as well. Like, this is the first time I had an opportunity properly to sort of race in a bit of Tracksmith gear. I'm sort of saving like a vest for like Malaga, because I want to like make sure it makes me feel like, I don't know,
fresh.
I don't know what it's going to make me feel like.
And you like, this is marginal gains, isn't it?
Yeah, I wore the turnover half tights, which were delivered last week, and they are like the softest tights, like race like shorts I've ever worn in my life, and they were awesome. So I really recommend those. They were incredible.
I did manage 20 minutes pain free in Fontenot.
Yes,
right towards
the end.
So
you got one run in on the lake,
and it was beautiful. And I didn't go down to the lake. I just went for my accommodate. I didn't have much time, but yeah, during a sunset. I got like overlooking the valley in the sunset, and then came home to my Tracksmith kit. So I'm quite excited to actually get running. And I got some of the Tracksmith Elliott range trail shoes, and I think they might be too beautiful to run in. I've got a bit of a conundrum.
It's just same with the Elliott shoes in general. Like, look at these. These are absolute beauts.
There's no mud. Well, I don't like mud at the best of times, but the trail shoes, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're a bit waterproof as well, so I think I'm going to coach on the track in them this year, and then maybe I'll brave a bit of off-road stuff. But they're just too nice.
Okay, so the big race at a weekend internationally was the Amsterdam Marathon. This was a big one for Amsterdam because it was the 50th anniversary, and I think so I nearly did this one, but I knew that Tokyo would disrupt the training. It's I've done Amsterdam twice. It's a great race, but it was the 50th anniversary of the race and the 750th anniversary of the city, I think.
What, about the city being founded?
Yeah, something like that. So it's a big year for Amsterdam generally. And they originally they had a big, the big draw was Tamer Tola. He had to withdraw, so he maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So he wasn't able to be there. But we got a new men's course record, taking Tola's record actually. 2 hours, 3 minutes, 29 seconds for Jeffrey Turutic Kipchumba. That's the 5th fastest time this year. So really good time. Kind of unknown as well. Only his second marathon. He came 6th in Tokyo earlier this year. He beat Sergei Getachew and Gitana Molla. And so that was the podium. And as I realized, I want to give proper credit to Kipchumba for winning that, because that really big win, and just this endless sort of what seems like talent factory that comes out of Kenya and Ethiopia generally. But Kipchumba, brilliant win for him. In terms of the women, I'm going to come back to talking about some of the talking points in a minute, because you might have noticed I've missed out two of the bigger names. But in the women's race, Anadam Desta, 2:17:34. She's just 21 years old. That PB is 5-minute PB, which is mad.
Well, I was going to say 21. Amsterdam's got a bit of a reputation. Like, it is very quick.
It is quick.
But it seems to drop. I remember we had the debut for Alma Zayana and Ganzebi Dababa at Amsterdam a few years ago, and so they seem to, that women's field I don't know if the reputation of being able to run super quick is even more of a strong pull in the women's field, but every year, the win is I think Ayana won it in about the similar sort of time. But for Desta to run that time, I'm not surprised given the venue and the prestige. But at 21, that's pretty
young.
cool. Yeah,
and we're talking like, I mean, I think, you know, there's lots of 220 women now, sub 220 women. But and
how many of them are? Come on, stat it out. How many of them are 21 or younger?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I should have done that. Should have done that. But so it's just like real talent, you know, to be able to do that at that age. And you're sort of looking at sub 218. I think you're starting to go. You're in like the top bracket, and you know, at that age, you know, there's just so much left in.
It's a lot of women between 218 and 222.
Yeah, and you're right. The course it is quick. It is a fast course, but it's not like Valencia or Seville, which just like completely roads, because you actually do quite a long stretch by the banks of like the river or the canals.
It's quite a long kind of lonely
you go
out
and
back, isn't it? Yeah,
and you see it's an out and back, and that's on sort of a mixture of tarmac and trails or compacted stone. So it doesn't feel traily, but it's not like the quickest. You're not going to get as much energy return off of that bit. And that is also, I mean, the second time I did Amsterdam, the rain was awful. Like,
I was going to say, you're not guaranteed.
It's really exposed.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed similar. Well, you got naff weather in Portsmouth. Like it's
I mean, it is pancake flat in Amsterdam. Like you just like, you know, to the point where if you have to go over a bridge to get over it, on like a highway, I think there's one bit you're like, this feels like a hill. I thought it was supposed to be completely pancake flat, but that's about as bad as it gets. And you have the stadium finish as well, which is a really good finish. But so really good times. I want to talk about, so Gabriel Gay came fourth. He's got a little bit more reputation in terms of his marathon prestige. So that's a slight disappointment for him. I think he was one of the favourites going in. But I want to talk about Joshua Cheptegei. So he's fifth, 2:04:51, so basically 2:05. And it's just not working out for him yet over this distance. And I just wonder, how many times when does he, is it the right for him to be doing this? He made his marathon debut in 2023. And he just isn't, it isn't really, it's not coming off for him yet, is it? You know, so his debut was Valencia, that was 2:09. I mean, not great. He didn't run a marathon last year, ran in Tokyo this year, 9th, 2:06, and then he's lowered it again to 2:05 basically. But you know, he's only 29, only just turned 29. He is, you know, he was just supreme over the 5s and 10s. You know, he was basically cleaning up. Do you think he should be going back to the track?
It's hard,
when do you pull the plug?
I think we don't know the whole picture. Like, he could be doing a 2:05 off a disruptive build-up, in which case that's super impressive. I think that's the problem, is we don't have like full transparency on the context behind each of these. I don't think he would purely make the argument, I've gone 2:05, 2:06, 2:09, 2:06, 2:05. I don't think he would. That in itself would be enough encouragement to stay in the event.
No, the times are
2:06, 2:04, 2:03.
He needs to be sub 2:03 to make this worthwhile, doesn't he? I mean, he has to. I mean, to win the big races, you're now looking at 2:01, 2:02, and he's I mean 2:0, pretty much. Let's call it, say 2:05. I mean, he was a 2:04, but it's 2:04 high, so it's basically 2:05. That is not going to cut it like in. And almost anyway, and he's picking the quicker courses. So he's done Valencia, Tokyo, and Amsterdam now.
Yeah. But it depends. If his end goal is win LA, do you think he has a better chance in the marathon or the 10K?
Well, the 10K surely.
You sure?
He's only going to be still in his early 30s. I mean, we're talking 3 years away. He's only just turned 29, so he's only going to be, what, 31, 32?
And I think we'll have a whole load of athletes. I put Ailish McColgan of Great Britain in the same bracket here, and Femke Bol trying her 800. You've got a couple of years here to try it out. And I think Cheptegei yeah, it depends whether he fancies popping into Commonwealth Games and having a go at something there.
Yeah.
But he maybe you've got to fully commit to trying the marathon, and if he doesn't get anything by the end of next year, then you flip back round to 10K and go to LA. But it's a total mindset. We talked about Taye finishing Chicago in 2:52. You know, once you buy into being a marathoner, you can't have any second thoughts. You can't be second guessing it. So I think Cheptegei and his team will have a point in time where they say enough's enough. If we don't see something a tiny bit more, then we go back to the track. But like I said, we don't know the context. We don't know.
No, and do you think as well? Like, see, he's also a former world cross country champion. Do you wonder whether he should be maybe? I would like to see him on a tougher course where it's not so much about the time.
Yeah, which would be, but then he's not got there's not marathon. It's a marathon at Commonwealth Games next year, but that's not really a stiff enough test. If we're honest.
I think. Do you want to go? Do you want to go to Boston? Well, New York would have been like a better option for him, wouldn't it?
No, maybe he will. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's tried the flat courses. Yeah, because if he can win a hilly course, it doesn't matter whatever time. If he can win a hilly course, then that's enough to say, all right, let's keep going at the championship marathons and winning those ones. But he should probably go via Tallahassee. That's what we're saying, isn't it? Not that many hills in Tallahassee.
But he's so good, right? Yeah, he's so good on the track. He's so good over the 5 and the 10.
Because do you think when you look at like Bekele, people are kind of underwhelmed by his move to marathon, but he never really went back to the track. Whereas you've seen Hassan has tried to dabble back and forth. I think you make a choice. You're either an out and out marathon runner, and maybe that's what you need at that stage in your career. Maybe you're burnt out by track, or you dibble dabble between, and you become someone that could be great on both. But
do you think the issue partly is like, the marathons are so big, but the halves don't have the same sort of profile. Maybe if you could focus fully on halves, and that had a bigger. I think there's a gap in the market there, to be honest, because I think because people love watching marathons. They love the big city races, and some of these halves are huge. They're still getting there are also 40, 50,000 people competing in these, and they have the someone like I did Berlin half earlier this year. It felt like a big city marathon. Like there's an appetite to watch that. The TV audience,
and you don't have to give up 3 months for it.
You can tag it on the end of your track season. You have to give up 3 hours. Yes. To watch it for an hour.
Yeah, no, I think, I think that'd be the perfect, if you like doing track, look at someone like Jimmy Gressier, tried a bit of road running and now he's world champion over 10K. For him, you kind of say, go sell out and do a big half marathon, or there's a brilliant 10K in Barcelona on New Year's Eve gets great attention. Yeah. But you're right. It does seem like the amount you can earn for going all the way to the full, it just pulls people there, and then there's
quite early for Cheptegei as well. Remember, because he's done some, he's had some good times this year. It was only his third race this year for Cheptegei. So he raced in India a 10K on a road 10K in 27:53, which is pretty good. But I just feel like I feel like he's gone to the marathons quite young. So has Jacob Kiplimo, who's even younger, right? And this is the other issue, because you feel like the pressure starts to build even more on Cheptegei because of what Kiplimo's doing in terms of he had a decent debut in London, then he wins Chicago, and we just know he could go quicker. And so you've got these two Ugandans with a similar kind of pedigree. In terms of, like maybe Kiplimo was following the same sort of trajectory as Joshua Cheptegei. Was he going to be like the heir to Cheptegei's throne, basically? And then instead he goes early to the roads. You wonder whether he's going to follow that same path, but he goes early and he's sort of overshadowing. So is Kiplimo kind of actually giving Cheptegei a little bit more space because maybe the pressure isn't so much on Cheptegei anymore? Maybe it's a little bit more on Kiplimo because of the conversation and the expectation around him. Could that help him maybe to give him more time, take a little bit more pressure off of him, or does it actually put more pressure on him to say like, well, he's gone and done it? He looks like he's coming. Because you can look at it both ways, can't you? The other way of looking at it as, well, Jacob's come over and he's done pretty well, so why haven't you had the same? I'm just trying to think of those arguments that kind of leveled at people, right?
No, and I think deal with. Yeah, we all know track form doesn't translate to road, and you have to really try.
Not always, sometimes it does.
Yeah, but then Cheptegei's got to go. I'm world record holder over 5K. I am nowhere near my teammate who I know really well. I'm a track runner. I've had a go. I've dabbled. I don't know. I think it's a fun. Everyone, if you want to do the marathon, everyone's drawn to it. And then if someone wants to pay you obscene prize money to turn up, it's pretty Cheptegei. It's not like he's denting his earning potential. He's probably earning more than he would be going to win a load of diamond leagues and a world champ. So it's like a fun experiment, a well paid,
and he's earned the right because he's won it all.
Secondment.
He's done it. He's an Olympic champion over 5 and 10. He's a world champion over. Well, he's not actually a world champion over 5,000 meters. So maybe that could be the aim, but then he's going to go a lot further down.
I would frigging love to see him do Commonwealth Games. If not, I think he goes back to track for Beijing if he hasn't gone sub 2:04 by.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see him really crack this marathon game. But so before we round off Amsterdam, still a few bits to talk about. Phil Sessman, good PB, 2:07.16.
Yeah, 45-second PB, brilliant.
And there's a lot of love for Phil Sessman in the
just
UK.
the fact to have Mohammed, Emil Caress, Phil Sessman all under 2:08. Like, that's super exciting. And I just think that men's marathon running in Britain is in a really good state, and we haven't always been able to say that. And Sessman, he's people's hero because he's just a hard worker. He just chips away and chips away. He's run so many marathons. You would think you might lose hope that you're never gonna go better than 2:09, 2:10, but then the last couple of years for him to unlock that extra level, it's pretty inspiring. It was a shame he still didn't quite get Steve Jones on the all-time list, did he? So he stayed 5th all-time as a Brit by a few seconds. But
but it looks like he's got more to give because we're following Phil Sessman's story to get to the Olympics, because he just missed out on the qualifying time by like seconds. He had to go again and then got it. Mm-hmm. Was it Seville he got the qualifying time?
Did he miss? He missed it in Valencia, got it in Seville, and then was a bit kind of tired by the Olympics.
But I mean, like you say, we got Paddy Diva to come as well, which is in New York and Valencia to come as well.
Who knows who will
we'll
end up
talk a few bit about Valencia in just a moment. But Britain cleaned up in the half marathon. So wins for Ollie Lockley and Alex Bell. And Alex Bell is the really impressive one. So she's made this complete transformation from an 800-meter Olympic finalist to the roads. And that was her debut over a half marathon, 70 minutes, winning the event. And I guess it's still pretty early in that journey. So that's encouraging, isn't it? I think
it is. I think she's challenging Jess Warner-Judd for the best range of a British female. They said Jess Judd's a 1:59, and then she's definitely sub 70. I wouldn't be able to commit how far sub 70, but Alex Bell faster over the 8, trying to get faster over the half marathon. And I think it's really interesting to see the pair of them. We pigeonhole athletes. You're an endurance runner, you're a middle distance runner, this, that, and the other. And Alex Bell, real love for road running that she couldn't indulge when she was trying to run 800s, and it just looks like a second lease of life, that she can just do something totally different, a totally different challenge. I'm impressed. I'm really, really impressed by that debut. And I don't know, has she said whether she's going all the way up to marathon?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you don't want to put too much pressure on her, do you? But I guess that's probably the aim.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, we had an insane a debut for Holly Mills just outside 3 hours in Melbourne.
The
heptathlete, 8 weeks training. So that I think Alex Bell might want to run faster than that if she does a marathon, but in terms of people turning to a different specialism, that was pretty insane from Holly Mills.
Since our last episode, I think it was on the day that we actually recorded, they announced the field for the Valencia Marathon, and it looks pretty good. I mean, so this is coming up in, again, what, 7 weeks? How long's the Malaga again?
8 weeks to Malaga, 7
weeks to Valencia then.
8 weeks till Eurocross or 9 weeks till Eurocross? I'm not allowed to talk about that yet.
Well, it's the same weekend as Malaga.
Okay, 8 weeks till Eurocross.
So Paris Cheptegei leading the field in the women's race for Valencia. That's going to be really great. I mean, it's a really popular world champion, that brilliant finish with Tigista Sefer. in Tokyo, and Amanda Bariso will be there too. And that's obviously the athlete that she succeeded as world champion. And Bariso was meant to be in Tokyo, but picked up an injury along the way and wasn't quite ready. It was just a little bit too soon, wasn't it? The world champs. So she'll be there. And then on the men's side, Sisilema is going to be there too. So I think we've got some really good racing to come in Valencia.
I like the quotes from Cheptegei when she said, was it Valencia that she first went to sub 220, and that's when she felt like she was entering a new level of her career, like running that fast. So and she's had tremendous championship results. So I think it'd be nice to see her get 216, maybe even 215. Is that too ambitious? No,
I mean, I think the racing generally is going to be what a way to close out the year in terms of on the marathon circuit. One of the biggest races outside the majors. So you've got Bariso, Cheptegei, Jocelyn Chepkosgai's there too. Charlotte Purgey is going to be lining up for GB, who we're going to speak to in the next few weeks. We'll be speaking to her ahead of Valencia, and on the men's side, so you've got Sisilema, you got Amanal Petros, who has just missed out on the gold medal in Tokyo as well.
Could
so a little bit of attention on him.
For European record? I reckon European record might go in the depth sort of in that level that it takes to get Bashir Abdi's 203 something, 203.30. I don't know. I can't remember the seconds. But there's some good depth there in terms of European marathoners that could be quite fun.
Yeah, Clayton Young's going as well off the back of watching Conor Mantz get that North American record. And
Clayton Young was impressive in Tokyo as well.
Yeah, he faded near the end, but he was one of those who was sort of in the mix a bit longer than some of the others that maybe we expected.
He paced it okay, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He went for it, but not. Yeah, and then he didn't capitulate, but he faded rather than imploding.
Yeah. Rose Harvey's obviously going to be in
nice.
Missed out. Should have mentioned her as well. But full preview coming of that in when we get a little bit closer to it. So that's that. In terms of just rounding off some other marathon news, big shame for Cape Town. So that is one of the races that's trying to become one of the next Abbott World Marathon Majors, and it was due to have its assessment to get a lot closer to becoming that major. So will be the 8th major. That and Shanghai are trying to join after Sydney obviously became the latest one, but it was cancelled due to bad weather on the morning. Can you imagine strong winds? Can you imagine traveling all that way, especially if you come? People that live in South Africa generally disappointing, but if you've booked your flights, if you've flown there, if you've arrived, and then the morning of the race it gets cancelled. Wow, that's
pretty rough.
Yeah, pretty rough.
Yeah.
So they haven't actually decided what's going to happen there yet. I think it's that's completely, come out of the blue, and they don't know how to deal with that. So we don't know how that works in terms of the assessments, because they still would have hit lots of different targets in terms of like the organization. So there'll still be some sort of level of assessment, I think, from the marathon majors, and we'll see what happens with that, I guess, in the next few weeks. Not much else to sort of to wrap up, but there are some bits that we just want to talk about. Commonwealth Games, it looks like Ahmedabad is going to get 2030. So the Commonwealth Games returning to India, part of this big project is to try and get the Olympics to India. And you've competed at the Commonwealth Games in India, didn't you? Were you in New Delhi? Yeah,
Delhi 2010. Yeah, 2010. And it was my second senior. I did the Europeans that summer in Barcelona, and then that was by far, it was a big jump up to go to a multi-sport games.
Yeah.
It was that they had all this trouble with not getting all the facilities ready before we got there. It was a scramble to get, and the village as well. And it was a fantastic experience. I learned so much as a young athlete going to do something, and but to be somewhere that wasn't quite prepared. There are horror stories about the athlete village, and I shared.
What was your experience?
Oh, I shared an apartment with Helen Clitheroe, Charlotte Purgey, can't remember, a couple of other athletes, and there was one room that was locked, and it had a sign saying "Do not use this room." And we're like, "Oh, whatever, it must be a spare bedroom." And after a couple of days, there was raw sewage floating out of this room through the middle of our living area. And you were like, oh no. So there were little things like, that it just seemed like all the pipes weren't tightened properly, and the swimmers all got awful dysentery, for want of a better word, from when they went training in the pool and it wasn't clean enough.
Okay.
I want to say they maybe even didn't have a triathlon. because they decided the conditions weren't good enough. Yeah, and we went to the track the day before it started, and it wasn't finished. And they just filled in the steeplechase. My husband was there doing the steeplechase, and they just filled in the pit with concrete, and they were jackhammering it back out. You could see someone, why is there a hole in the track? So they filled it in, and then 5 hours later, why someone filled the steeplechase up? So it was, and there were dead spots on the track. Like, I don't know, it's too long ago for people to remember, but everyone was falling with 50 meters to go. If you were in lane 1, 2, or 3, people were falling, and it's because it was a total dead patch. Right. So I did the 8 and the 15. So by the final round, by my 4th race, I was running down the home straight, like then like subconsciously dodging the dead patch, and like it was. But all of that said, the atmosphere was insane, like absolutely insane. It was sold out every night, and the passion from the crowd for everything, and particularly we had a Indian woman in the 800, and I think her PB was about 1:58, so that's 59s if you like. She went out in a 56. There was just no, which now is common, but back then wasn't common. And this poor girl just got so excited by the energy I mean, she ruined the whole race. We all went too fast through the first 400, but it was just that kind of passion behind everything, and particularly the local athletes. Was I come from those European Championships in Spain, and Spanish are passionate about their own, and then India was even wilder than that.
Yeah, I've spoken about it before, obviously, but I went to India this year to go and do the Neeraj Chopra Classic, and I got a real sense of this big push to get the Olympics, to get to the Olympics to India, and they'd love to do that. I think Ahmedabad's been talked about as like the place where it would be centered, because
whereabouts in India is it?
How do you ask me that question, Hannah?
Stuff like this. You're
I'm not a massive expert.
No,
in
just
India.
curious. Curious.
In India, Ahmedabad is in the as you all will know, it's in the west of the country, and it's near. It's quite not too far away from the sea, is it? But it's not a coastal city or anything. But I think it's got like the best infrastructure in terms of sporting facilities. Decent stadiums.
You can't just pick the biggest city if it's not got the infrastructure. Delhi, they closed that. We had game specific lanes, and the traffic was mayhem, and the whole lots of aspects of it were chaotic, but they managed to get around it. Whereas I think choosing a smaller place with existing infrastructure with sports stuff is probably better.
Yeah, still a pretty big city.
Is it?
But yeah, it's not particularly small, but it's but that so it hasn't been confirmed, but it looks like that's going to be the case. So big moment for sport. Obviously it's not just athletics, but it's a big moment for sport in India. A real showcase to see if what the difference is in terms of, I guess, from 2010 to now, in terms of the how they're putting on a multi-sport games. Big for athletics though, because you're looking at trying to grow this sport in India beyond the javelin throwers, and they do have some very, very talented javelin throwers beyond Neeraj Chopra as well.
Yeah. No, in the what was it? We had cricket here in Birmingham for Commonwealth Games.
Yes,
just
that would
for the women,
be...
so that could stay in. Hockey,
sure.
they love their hockey.
Big, squash.
I think shooting come out, but maybe it will come back in. Because they love their shooting over there.
Surely you would. Because obviously these are the reduced Commonwealth Games that we're getting in Glasgow next year compared to usual. And I just maybe it might be this sort of case where, and I think we're looking at a smaller Commonwealth Games generally, like going forward to make it more sustainable. But it will be like the Olympics, where things come and go in terms of the events based on
I think if that's what we need to do with Commonwealth Games, to stay nimble and keep it exciting for different nations, then let's swap in and swap out. I think the one other like negative thing about Delhi was this, I was probably quite young to appreciate it all at the time, but they moved a lot of the homeless people out of a lot of the shanty towns were just erased, and people were moved, and part of that was for facilities and part of it was for optics. They just didn't want it seen, and you worry about that sort of thing happening, and you worry about sort of the ethics behind every major championships, and it's hard, isn't it, when you're desperate for Commonwealth Games to continue and to go places. You hope that there's still going to be a standard that every host place, it doesn't matter where it is in the world, is going to be held to, because I think that was a bit of a challenge back in 2010 as well.
Okay, well we'll wait to see whether that's confirmed, but I mean for the future of the Commonwealth Games, that's a good thing. So I think there was genuine concerns when it was being moved around for next year, finally settled in Glasgow, the reduced games. But the fact that it looks like we're going to get another one for sure, because there was definitely consensus, is the death of the Commonwealth Games before Glasgow picked it up. The fact there's now already another venue
that's good.
that there's going to be to secure the future a little bit further. That's really good news.
Well, in terms of Glasgow as well, to see Ailish McColgan say she wants to do the 10K there is super cool. That's what she said. And the win in Birmingham with the 10K was just emulating what her mum had done. I know it was in England, not in Scotland, but the number of Scottish people that day when they sung the national anthem, was it Flower of Scotland? Is that what it? It was just goosebumps. Like, I'll never forget that.
Back to the track.
Yeah, I think, and that fits well with still experimenting with the marathon. So I'm excited about that. I'm still not really at peace with it being a mile, not 1500. That's the event that's close to my heart. I'm still a bit jarred that it's a mile, not 15. Do you?
Yeah, I do. I like. I'd like to see more 3Ks on the track, and I'd like to see more miles. Because I personally don't think. Sorry, this is great.
No.
It's a quieter week, isn't it? We can talk about it very quickly.
If you're going to trash the 15, we can't. We're done.
Yeah, we're going to trash the 15 right now. I would like to make it, to differentiate the season between indoor and outdoor. I would like, just like we have a 3K instead of a 5K in indoors, I'd rather have a mile indoors than the 15. Is that controversial? It is, isn't it? It's for you.
It is a bit. I
But
just struggle with change. Yeah.
Make the mile the World Athletics Championships event in terms of the indoors.
Yeah.
World Champs indoors.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole lot of people. There are a lot of miles indoors, especially in the collegiate scene.
Yes,
and
keep
there's
it,
a lot
put it in
of
the World Champs.
A lot of Commonwealth athletes excited that they can go over and use the American indoor season to qualify for Commonwealth Games. Boston does all those super fast miles. It's going to be even more loaded than normal because you can make the Commonwealth Games from that.
Because I know, like, someone like you, a purist like you, would say, I'm a 15 runner, so I want to run a 15. But I mean, your focus, whether you do it indoors or not, your focus of your season is never going to be the indoors.
No, true.
So you're never going to go. You never start 20. You're not going to start a year going, what's your big goal for this year? It's to win a world indoor title. And especially in a year that's also got a European. If you're European, for example, you're targeting European champs. If you're Commonwealth nation, you might be going for the Commonwealths, Ultimate Champs as well at the end of the year. It'd be really interesting to see how that goes. Very rarely you're going to go in. There's not going to be many athletes who go, my big goal next year is the world indoor title, right? It's always part of the season. It's great. It's a massive achievement, clearly. And if you get it, you'll always be a world indoor champion or world indoor medalist.
Yeah. But
you're still going to prioritize the outdoor season over the indoor season, always,
no,
right?
Look,
is there anyone that wouldn't?
Oh, any Polish athlete this year?
Yeah, apart from that, is there anyone that goes? Do you know any athletes that's gone into a season and say, I'm prioritizing
someone
the
that's
indoor
a 60 meter specialist? They
go,
I can take my career to another level.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. No, anyone that a pentathlete, like an under 20 combined eventer, will say, this is my opportunity to punch through to the next level.
But let's say
I know, you are right. I'm being
if you're a middle distance runner.
No.
So I think I that's why it kind of feels like just make it a bit different. Like maybe put the mile in.
No. It's fine. I don't really. I just struggle with change. And my husband, if he
I'd like to also see
really
some longer. I like, what would you do in the future? What events would you add? That's a future episode, isn't it? Like
indoor.
Do you get a 4x8?
We did once have an indoor 4 hurdles in Birmingham. Felix Sanchez and Di Green and I think Richard Yates did it. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, I bet.
They just had hurdles on the 2 straights in the middle of the straights.
Right.
So it wasn't as many as you'd have in a 4 hurdles. It was just basically an obstacle race for the 4 hurdles. It was either that or a 600, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just do that instead."
Right. Any other business before we leave?
I was only going to flag up. I was super interested to read that the Polish Athletics Annual Awards, so the Polish Federation saying who they think are the best in the year, is televised in Poland. We have Spotty, the Sports Personality of the Year, multi-sport thing televised. Yeah. I don't think we'd even YouTube stream a British athletics. I mean, there probably isn't one, but that the profile Poland has, or the passion it has for athletics. It has a load of football in Poland as well. They have other big sports, but they do love their athletics, and I see that at the Silesia Diamond League. I see it every time Poland hosts something. They love their age group championships. It's big, and I was already excited for these World Indoor Championships in March and the atmosphere around that.
Yeah,
and then
great.
So I'm like, well, maybe it is obvious that they televise their athletics awards, but I kudos to Poland for making athletics so mainstream.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great World Indoors in Torrent.
Mhm.
It's one of the big venues, isn't it?
There you go.
Anyway,
Ava Svoboda will be going. The most important thing this year is to win the World Indoors.
Yeah.
Who else?
Yeah,
There were
right.
some others. I'll write you a list.
Okay, let's leave it there for today. We have a big guest coming your way this week, and subscribe, follow, make sure you've got it ready to download in your podcast provider, because you'll love who we're speaking to. That will be released on Thursday. We'll keep it a surprise for now, but it's definitely worth a listen, and it's a really good discussion from one of the athletes of 2025. So stay tuned for that one. But for now, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on a roundup next week.